Hello, welcome to Acceptance and Beyond. This is the series about sensory systems, right? So previously we spoke about what were the eight senses, what is sensory processing disorder, and we also spoke about how important the tactile, vestibular, and the proprioceptive sensory systems are, right? So this particular video is dedicated to understand more about the proprioceptive system. Hi everyone, I am Dr. Preeti. I'm a mother of a child with Rett syndrome, and I'm not a special educator. I'm not an occupational therapist or any special speech therapist or anything. I'm just a parent who's trying to spread awareness about the sensory systems and about sensory processing disorder to anybody who watches my channel. If you like this channel, please press on like, or you can subscribe to the channel to get more information. All right, so let's go ahead and see what is proprioceptive system. What is proprioception, right? It gives awareness of where the various body parts are in space. Okay, so it is the sense of body position. The information from our muscles, from our joints, is sent to the brain. So we are able to understand where our body is in position to space. Okay, if we are moving or not, how fast are we moving, in what direction are we moving, right? It senses the position, the location, the orientation, and the movement. All right, so an example is, even if you close your eyes, you know where your feet are, you know where your arms are, you know where your hand is, right? And you're able to touch your nose perfectly with the tip of your finger, even if your eyes are closed. Now, if a child or if a person has issues with proprioception, they are really not able to understand where in space is their body parts located. Okay, it is important for us to understand, okay, how different systems work in coordination with each other. The vestibular, the auditory, the vision, all of these work together, okay, along with the proprioceptive system. And this happens subconsciously. We are not even aware of this happening, right? Now, our body gets signals and we are able to feel where we are, right? And if you move, right, you adjust how you move according to that feeling. All right, so this is a cycle, and this happens subconsciously without even realizing that we are adjusting our body posture based on the movement. Now, how does this work? How does the proprioceptive system work, right? Muscles, joints, and tendons, okay, they have these receptors which are present. So when they stretch, these receptors pick up that particular information and it sends the signal to the brain. Okay, the brain is what understands the signal, interprets the signal, and gives us information telling where a particular body part is at a given moment of time. Now, this is what is body awareness. All right. Now, we are not conscious about it. It allows us to simultaneously do multiple actions even without thinking about it. We don't even think where our body is in space, right? We are able to do multiple actions simultaneously. We can run and dribble a ball together. We can sit and watch this video. All right. We are not very conscious about where our body parts are. We're not conscious that we're sitting on a chair and watching the video. It's all happening together, right? The importance of proprioception, okay, it helps for postural control and movement. So because it allows us to know what position our body is in without looking at our body parts, we don't have to put the extra effort to sit in a good posture or to lie down comfortably, right? So it gives an input about it helps with posture control, it helps with movement, helps with body awareness, agility, balance, and coordination, and sensory motor integration. Okay, so agility, balance, and coordination, all right, is controlled by the proprioceptors. It gives agility to change direction. All right, and when we are doing any activity, we are able to maintain balance and our whole body is doing it in a coordinated fashion, right? And we're able to do all of this because, like I told you before, the visual, the vestibular, the auditory, all the systems integrate together. That is the sensory motor integration. So proprioception is like the base of all the sensory systems, along with the tactile and the vestibular. The third most important is the proprioception. What happens to a child who has impaired proprioception? A child obviously cannot understand where his body is in space, right? He needs to look at each individual body parts to be able to identify and understand where his body is in space. So if he's going to close his eyes and try to touch his nose with his tip of a finger, he might not be able to do that, right? And there are it manifests with various things. You might see a child who's very clumsy, a child who's having difficulty performing simple everyday tasks, which could be as simple as putting a button or unbuttoning his shirt. Okay, a child who's not able to maintain a good posture, and when he's sitting, he or she is sitting, might fall off or slide off a chair. A child might not be able to hold a pencil because you need to understand where, how to position your hand to hold a pencil. So child might not be able to hold a pencil, might have difficulty in all fine motor skills, right? And the child might have very poor input from the joints. So the child will use a lot of force to pick up things, or might just easily drop things from the hand. The child is not able to identify how much of a pressure a particular item requires to retain in your hand or to pick up some objects. So either there might be too much force or very less force, and the child might hit himself in the face. So these are the kind of things that manifest in a child with proprioceptive impairment. What are the clinical signs? Children have difficulty in motor planning, right? See, motor planning is basically we need to understand where our hand or leg has to go to perform a particular motor skill. Even if it is as simple as walking, we need to understand that we need to put the right leg first and then the left leg first, and how to balance. You need to plan how to move your body. That is motor planning. Okay, if a child cannot understand which part of the body has to move to do a particular task, then the child is going to have difficulty with everyday motor skills. Basic skills such as walking, crawling, climbing is going to be difficult for the child. Okay, normally we don't need any extra effort, and we're not even conscious about how our body is moving to do such simple tasks. Okay, the second is difficulty in executing planned movements. That is your motor control. See, the brain knows what to do, but the brain is unable to make the body move the way that they want to. Alright. So there is an issue with the movement that is happening because the signals are not going right to the body. Alright. Next is difficulty grading movement. See, a child knows normally when we hold a cup, right? Or if you're holding something heavy, we know how much force we need to apply in order to hold it. If you have to write, holding a pencil, we know how much of pressure we need to apply on the pencil to write on a page. If it's too hard, if you press too much, you might tear the page. If it's too light, you might not even be able to read what you've written, right? So this grading movement is basically, knowing how much force or how much pressure is needed in order to complete a task. Holding a cup, writing with a pencil or a pen, turning a page, all these basic tasks. Okay. Fourth clinical sign is they are unable to hold and maintain postural muscles and responses. So they don't feel very secure during any movement, and anytime there is a sudden movement, they are emotionally insecure because they're not getting the right signals. The body is not getting the right signals to immediately hold that posture or maintain the posture. So they really have this emotional security. Let's talk about symptoms of proprioceptive dysfunction. So you have a set of symptoms where the child is either under responsive or sensory seeking. So a child may walk too hard, push too hard, bang too hard. When they're playing, they're really rough. And when they're playing with objects, they hold the objects really hard, or they may forcefully throw the objects, right? And they may crash, move, jump, bounce, and they're just full of energy. They may crash into anything. They tend to chew on anything and everything, inedible objects. They enjoy tight clothing. All right, these are a set of symptoms of proprioceptive dysfunction. So watch out for these symptoms, and check if your child has any of these. Some children have poor motor planning, body awareness, and motor control. So I've explained what these are. So how does it look in a child? A child might have difficulty with climbing, running, jumping, any kind of movement-based activity, because they're not able to, make their body to do that activity, right? And they have difficulty in fine motor activities, I mentioned. So tying shoes is an example. Difficulty in moving the body while dressing or undressing, right? Bumping into things or people, tripping and falling often. They may be frightened of escalators. They might avoid going up and going down the stairs, because you really require motor planning for all these things, right? And handling things, there might be too much force or very little force while handling things. So you see, these are the symptoms. Once you understand what is motor planning, what is body awareness, and how important it is, you are able to relate that if it's not functioning properly, what are the kind of symptoms that it presents with. Now, we need to look at these symptoms in our child, and then we will be able to understand if the child has a proprioceptive dysfunction or not. Another set is postural instability, right? So because, like I told you, proprioception is responsible for maintaining a good posture. So the child might slump, might slouch, might appear like atonic and limp, and the posture is poor, might not be able to sit upright, maybe sliding off the chair, and have difficulty with balancing. A child might not be able to stand on one foot, okay, because they're feeling very unstable, right? And other symptoms are things like emotional insecurity, because if your body is not giving you the right feedback, all right, you would definitely be scared to try any movement based activities. So these tend to have emotional insecurity every time there is some kind of movement, okay? And they avoid typical play experiences. You will see these children isolating themselves from play experiences just because they don't want anything to move around them. They don't want any unexpected movement, okay? And they are afraid to try anything new, and over time they begin to lack self-confidence, they begin to lack self-esteem, okay? So what is the treatment for these children, right? Occupational therapy and sensory integration is the treatment for these kids. The reason I'm sharing the symptoms is that if your child has any of those symptoms, you know now that there is a possibility that your child could have proprioceptive dysfunction. The next step is to go for an evaluation. All right, go to an occupational therapist or any professional who's done a sensory integration course, and they will be able to evaluate your child and give you proper feedback. All right, and they will give you a list of activities, and they would start sensory integration as a treatment modality. All right, and they would share ideas with you to do at home to help the child, improve over time. And the earlier you begin, better is the progress. So please don't delay to get your child evaluated or to start any kind of treatment for your child. Yes, so we are here at the end of the slide. Okay, thank you so much for listening. And you can look at the previous videos for more information about the other sensory systems. There are videos about the tactile and the vestibular system, which was in detail, And if you want details about what is sensory processing disorder, there's a video based on that. So please look at my old videos so that you kind of understand what I am speaking about. And thank you so much.